My name is Iona Colvin. I'm the Chief Social Work Advisor for the Scottish Government. And I suppose in terms of today, it's very thought-provoking. I thought Eamon's contribution was really interesting. I didn't altogether agree with everything that was said this morning, but it made me think quite a lot, not only about what we're trying to achieve in Scotland, but how we need to change things in order to move things on in Scotland. I think we need to think about the different elements and how we put that together in terms of how we support families, how we make, how we can do our assessments to decide whether or not to ask the children's panel and the hearing system to consider taking permanent measures for kids, and what we do for kids once we've taken them into care.
I'm Edwina Grant. I'm Chair of Scottish Attachment in Action, and I'm also a dyadic developmental practitioner, consultant and trainer. That's a la Dan Hughes's DDP model of practice. This morning, I loved hearing Eamon McCrory and Michael Tarrant-Sweeney. I guess the neuroscience of everything about child development and trauma, I find absolutely fascinating. And I love the fact that the neuroscience is actually backing up what we know are absolutely effective interventions for children who are in care. So I guess intuitively then myself and colleagues would know that love, safety, felt sense of security, boundaries, empathy, these are things that are actually brain altering, and these are things that are going to make our looked after and accommodated kids feel special, because that's what they need to do. And I guess the challenge for us all is to offer that as professionals, as carers, as adoptive parents, is to offer that, and also to be able to offer continuity of relationships, which we're not good at. We break them all the time, and that distresses our children. And I think there are big challenges in all of our systems. Education, social work, health, we've got a lot of thinking to do. We know this stuff. We need to get on and do something about it.
My name is Neil Hunter. I'm the Principal Reporter and Chief Executive of the Children's Reporters Administration, part of the Children's Hearing System. My thoughts on this morning and the rest of the day have been hugely thought-provoking. This morning we had a real challenge around understanding our need to take a holistic view of children and young people's care needs. I thought quite a lot of emphasis was put on the component parts of what being holistic looks like in relation to children's social and their emotional and their psychological development. So I thought it was really interesting in terms of, from a practice and policy perspective, how we make that happen in Scotland. I found the whole emphasis on adversity in childhood and the implications for children and young people as they develop into adulthood really fascinating. I want to know more about why some children and young people have such poor outcomes whilst others seem to develop resilience, and trying to understand a little bit more about the component parts of what being resilient looks like and what makes a difference. In the afternoon, a real sense of getting down to the nitty-gritty of practice and how we put this into practice in Scotland, thinking about the implications of what we've heard in the morning sessions, thinking about the design of our services, thinking about what we would do if we had a blank sheet of paper, and how we might craft a set of care services that really started to think about safety and security and belonging and love and concern for children and young people. And I think we've still got a long way to go to try and tease out some of those issues and how we design in compassion and empathy and love into our services. So the afternoon, I think, it gave us a real sense of the kind of call to action in terms of Scotland and where we need to go next.
I'm Andrew Dawson. I'm the professional lead for child psychotherapy in Greater Glasgow and Clyde Specialist Children's Services, which is a long title. I really enjoyed this morning, and the thing that I found myself thinking about is both of the speakers had moved from practice in the field of child mental health and stepped back and then stepped forward again and then thought about the research aspect of it. And they were both really honest about the limitations of what we know in terms of how to make a difference to children's mental health when they're very vulnerable. And I think that completely maps over to the problems we have in the health service just now. So I was very interested in that, and quite inspired about how those practical evidence-based discussions became about, does this child feel loved? And I'll be taking that back to the service.
My name is Anne Wilson, and I'm a Development Officer with Children's Health Scotland, which was formerly Action for Sick Children Scotland. My interest in being here is that I have a looked after children's project which delivers workshops to foster carers and kinship carers separately on various health related topics. So that's my area of interest, as it were.
And how have you found today, and what's been the biggest learning for you for today?
I found it an extremely stimulating day. It's made me rethink almost everything that I've ever thought, and there are various things almost in contention to each other. Michael's assertion that alternative care wasn't working, juxtaposed with Judy's beautiful, almost eulogy, testimony, if you like, to the importance of love and relationships. And I found myself thinking through equally the question about foster care. Why do we have foster care? What's its purpose and designed for? And this instruction, which may be historic now, to foster carers not to bond with the children because they were going to lose them or they were going to move on and they would experience that loss and change. And then thinking through, yes, but children coming into care are attention seeking because they're attention needy, because they need that bond, that attachment. And so I'm kind of going around in circles, but I'm coming out at the end that it's down to relationships. And I particularly loved the phrase felt security that Michael used. So for me, I think I'm going to be going out and certainly adjusting the message to foster carers and kinship carers, but if they don't know it already, it'll be about relationships and the felt security.
My name's Larissa Gordon. I'm the virtual school head teacher from Aberdeen City Council. So I was here on behalf of education, but working very closely with our colleagues in social work. I think today has been really inspiring, really motivational. Key messages for me taken away, as I'm sure with everybody else, it's absolutely about relationships, or as somebody said, it's relational, as in, it's very much that two-way. I think in education, we are getting better. I think we are absolutely moving towards recognising support for our looked after children in school. And I hope that came across with the commitment from Education Scotland in our new Higios 4 document, that lens really is on schools now to support our looked after children, and it is about unmet needs and what we do by working with partners to go about improving that outcomes for our children. So yeah, I certainly felt inspired, and to know that HMI are very much behind us on that journey as well, taking things forward.